Respectfully to NLE Choppa, I would just like to know, are you talking gangster shit that you want to get into it with this niggas? Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I think YoungBoy is attracted to niggas that's down to kill and die. I'm gonna be honest. YoungBoy's attracted to niggas who's down to kill and die. He's still on that. I'm not saying he's sanctioning nothing, but those are the people he likes to surround himself with. I don't think NLE Choppa is talking that energy. I think he's talking about artistically.
NLE Choppa just released another diss track aimed at NBA YoungBoy, and this time, it's becoming genuinely embarrassing. Listen, this Memphis artist, who once proclaimed YoungBoy as his favorite, is now frantically taking shots every few weeks, and the underlying reason will absolutely shock you. Beneath all these awkward dance routines and spiritual references, Choppa has been observing his career metrics plummet, while YoungBoy continues to succeed, and he has concluded that the only way to garner attention is to persistently insult the king. The true narrative behind why this former admirer transformed into YoungBoy's most irritating adversary involves broken contracts, failed friendships, and a desperate— Now, before we get into this mess, let me be completely straightforward with you all. Social media has been buzzing about Choppa's new song, Hello Revenge, with people questioning why this individual won't leave YoungBoy alone. But listen, we're about to distinguish the facts from the fiction, the genuine from the fabricated. October 2025, that is when everything became perfectly clear regarding NLE Choppa's true intentions. This Memphis rapper unexpectedly dropped his first YoungBoy diss track, KO, out of nowhere. And suddenly everyone was perplexed because these two hadn't had any real conflict in years. Now hold up before you start thinking this is some serious street rivalry. This is— Choppa's recent projects are barely reaching 1 million views, while YoungBoy effortlessly accumulates tens of millions. His last few singles were complete failures, and he realized he cannot continue remixing Shotta Flow for the remainder of his career. The algorithm favors controversy, and Choppa discovered that mentioning YoungBoy's name was like unlocking a cheat code for engagement. Every reaction channel, every hip-hop blog, every social media platform lights up when these two names are mentioned together. So, check this out. Let's rewind to 2018 when this entire story genuinely began. NLE Choppa was just a 15-year-old kid from Memphis striving to make it in rap, and NBA YoungBoy was his absolute favorite artist. We're talking about a bona fide fan here. Choppa was remixing YB's songs, imitating his style, and was even constantly compared to him. This was— Choppa literally built his early career using YoungBoy's blueprint, the aggressive vocal delivery, the street-oriented narratives, even the structure of his stage name, Nero Lay, standing for No Love Entertainment, mirroring how NBA stood for Never Broke Again. The influence was undeniable. In February 2019, during an interview with Hip Hop DX, when asked about his favorite artists, Choppa directly named NBA YoungBoy, Meek Mill, and Lil Durk. That is documented evidence of his admiration, not some attempt to revise history. But the fanboy behavior extended beyond just interviews. Choppa was He desired that same connection, that same capability to transform hardship into chart-topping records. But here is where things become intriguing. March 2019. Tensions first began to brew when Choppa's associates went live on Instagram, making reckless statements about YoungBoy, calling him disingenuous and questioning his credibility in the streets. Choppa attempted to de-escalate the situation, telling them to calm down because he was live with 2,000 viewers. The exact words used were shocking. One of his friends called YoungBoy a lame and asserted he wasn't a real killer. This was disrespectful on multiple levels, especially coming from individuals associated with someone who claimed to be an admirer. YoungBoy became aware of this disrespect and went live on his own account to address it. He stated, "Ain't no killer," and made it explicitly clear he was not going to tolerate the Choppa immediately went back on live, trying to squash the beef, proclaiming YoungBoy was his favorite rapper and that he wanted to collaborate on music with him. This was the first indication that Choppa was caught between his street image and his genuine reverence for YoungBoy. He couldn't control his crew's outspokenness, but he also didn't want to lose the respect of his idol. The damage, however, was already done. In YoungBoy's world, respect is paramount, and allowing your associates to disrespect someone demonstrates weakness. This planted the initial seed of distrust. In 2019, when YoungBoy was incarcerated for a probation violation, Choppa literally dedicated an entire song titled Free YoungBoy, showing genuine affection and support. This was not some fabricated industry maneuver. This was sincere admiration from a young rapper who looked up to YB as his primary inspiration. The track even sampled YoungBoy's Free Dog beat, illustrating the profound depth of the influence. But listen, this is where the story goes deeper than just fan worship. You see, Choppa started operating differently once he achieved some success. June 19, 2019, he became involved in that altercation with Quando Rondo in Houston, and that's when everything changed permanently. According to Quando's account, he was at a venue minding his own business when some of Choppa's associates approached him, instigating conflict. The tension was immediate. This was no accidental bump or misunderstanding. Choppa's people came looking for trouble. When Choppa arrived with his crew, the situation rapidly escalated. Quando threw a Hennessy bottle at one of them, splitting his face open and leaving blood everywhere. Security intervened, but the damage was done. Both Quando immediately went live afterward, showing no remorse and actually boasting about the incident. He claimed Choppa's friend needed stitches from his forehead to his nose, and offered $40,000 for Choppa to post his injured associate. But here's the most embarrassing part. After all that tough talk and street posturing, Choppa was sliding into Quando's DMs attempting to make peace. Quando exposed these messages, showing Choppa writing, "I don't know if you with me, but I just want to tell you keep turning up and stay safe out there. Now in the streets and the industry, we know you cannot maintain a friendly relationship with someone's enemies and expect to remain friends, but Choppa's situation was distinct because he attempted to play both sides while publicly aligning with YoungBoy's major adversaries. The real kicker though, this wasn't merely casual industry networking. Von and Choppa were regularly spending time together, playing video games, developing a genuine friendship, while both were under house arrest. When Von tragically passed away in November 2020, after that altercation with Quando Rondo's crew, Choppa posted emotional tributes, calling Von his brother. The grief was genuine, but so were the implications of that loyalty. January 2022, that's when everything erupted. YoungBoy was promoting his Colors mixtape and released Bring the Hook, where he dissed King Von. The lyrics were harsh. IB was speaking ill of a deceased individual, which crossed a significant line in hip-hop culture. Academics tweeted about. He replied to Reese's tweet, stating, "I stamp that," officially choosing sides in a conflict that initially had nothing to do with him. This wasn't just a casual endorsement. In the context of that beef, endorsing Reese's statement meant agreeing that YoungBoy was wrong for dissing Von, which effectively meant taking Chicago's side against Baton Rouge. 2 days after that tweet, YoungBoy dropped No, Like I Know, and Fam. That track was different. This wasn't just a diss. This was a death threat set to music. YB openly discussing how Choppa's mother would be devastated if he decided to kill him for choosing sides. Let me dissect some of these lyrics for you all because they were genuinely chilling. YoungBoy stated, "Your mama going to be crying when she see you in that coffin." That is not typical rap beef. That is a direct promise. He referenced how Choppa used to claim YB was his favorite rapper, telling him to stay in his lane or risk getting his face split. The track mentioned Choppa's healthy eating phase, labeling it fake, and even referenced his relationship with YoungBoy's ex-girlfriend, Young Blasian. YB was attacking him from every possible angle personally, professionally, and psychologically. The most chilling part was when YB sang in that haunting tone, "I want your soul," while reminding Choppa that he would die for choosing sides. This was psychological warfare disguised as a song, and it worked because Choppa went completely silent. But the threats didn't end there. YoungBoy mentioned Choppa's cars, his Instagram posts, even his mother who manages his career. He was letting Choppa know that he was watching everything, and nothing was off limits. The interlude was particularly menacing, with YB saying he was surprised Choppa's parents weren't talking him out of this beef. That's when you know it's serious. When someone is threatening your family's peace of mind. For those of you who might not understand the industry game, let me explain. When a major artist like YoungBoy disses you with that level of intensity, you have 3 options. Respond immediately, quietly accept the loss, or completely vanish from the conversation. Choppa chose option 3 for 2 entire years. This silence spoke volumes. If Choppa was genuinely committed to that life, he would have responded instantly. Instead, he went quiet, focused on his spiritual journey, started promoting healthy eating and meditation basically. Everything contrary to the street image he used to project. During this period, Choppa was clearly affected by the diss. He completely altered his public persona, speaking about healing, positivity, and distancing himself from negative energy. While this was likely beneficial for his mental well-being, it also demonstrated that YoungBoy's words had a real impact. The transformation was dramatic. The same individual who was talking tough and aligning with street politics suddenly became a wellness guru, advocating for herbs and meditation. Fans noticed the change, and many respected the personal growth, but it also raised questions about his authenticity. Meanwhile, YoungBoy continued to flourish. His career kept ascending, his fan base kept expanding, and he never mentioned Choppa again. The silence from YB was actually more damaging than any follow-up diss track could have been. But here's what's truly calculated about this entire situation. The timing of Choppa's return to dissing. 2024 arrives, and suddenly this individual remembers he has a conflict. Let's examine what changed. YoungBoy just concluded his My I Got a Family tour, reportedly grossing $75 million and selling out arenas nationwide. His name consistently trends on social media, his music videos accumulate massive viewership, and he is arguably the most talked about rapper in hip-hop right now. Meanwhile, Choppa has been struggling to maintain relevance. His recent projects are receiving lukewarm reviews, his streaming numbers are declining, and he cannot replicate the magic of Shotta Flow, no matter how many times he attempts to remix it or create sequels. The statistics tell the whole story. Choppa's last few releases are barely surpassing 1 million views, while YoungBoy regularly pulls 10 to 20 million. His Spotify monthly listeners are decreasing, while YB's remain consistently in the tens of millions. Now, this isn't solely about wounded pride or street credibility. This is about numbers, algorithms, and career survival. When Choppa dropped KO in October 2024, it garnered more attention than anything he had released in months. The YouTube comments, the reaction videos, the social media buzzall. Because he mentioned YoungBoy's name, the evidence is right there in the data. KO likely received more views in its first week than his last 3 regular songs combined. The algorithm thrives on controversy, and Choppa figured out that dissing the most talked about rapper in hip-hop was his ticket back to relevance. Look at Hello Revenge. All those dance moves, biblical references, and Michael Jackson impressions cannot conceal the fact that this is manufactured drama. Choppa is trying so hard to make this artistic and profound, but it's really just desperation with a budget. The video begins with Genesis 1:1, attempting to position this as some spiritual conflict between good and evil. He's quoting scripture while performing choreographed dance moves, which creates this strange disconnect between the intended message and the actual presentation. In the track, he says, "They say why be better who I'm the proof that ain't no statement and put top in the lake." These are direct insults aimed at YoungBoy but delivered in such a theatrical manner that it's difficult to take seriously. He's even placing billboards in Baton Rouge, attempting to provoke a reaction, but YoungBoy has already made it clear he won't respond to people who don't matter. In his Zero IQ freestyle, YB stated, "Respond to him?" I said, "No." That is the ultimate dismissal. The desperation is evident when you observe the pattern. First KO, then immediately, Hello Revenge. Just weeks later. This is not organic beef. This is content creation disguised as street politics. This entire situation represents a larger issue within hip-hop culture. We have transitioned from authentic feuds based on real issues to fabricated controversy designed to manipulate the algorithm. Artists are learning that negative attention is still attention, and attention translates to money. Look at how the industry has responded to this. YoungBoy's team, including his mother, have essentially dismissed Choppa as irrelevant. His mother even stated she would only be upset if this was coming from someone significant, not someone people don't actually listen to. Reaction channels are treating this as entertainment rather than a genuine conflict. Comment sections are filled with people mocking Choppa instead of taking him seriously. Oh, even his own fanbase is questioning the strategy. But here's what's truly interesting. This strategy might actually backfire on Choppa in the long term. By positioning himself as the desperate individual chasing clout, he is damaging his own brand. Fans value authenticity, and this clearly isn't it. The numbers are also undeniable. While his diss tracks might garner initial attention, they are not translating into sustained success for his regular music. It's like a sugar rush temporary energy followed by an inevitable crash. Ultimately, NLE Choppa's situation isn't merely about seeking conflict with YoungBoy. It's about a former fan who realized his idol became his only viable path back to relevance. And that is actually quite sad when you reflect on it. The transformation from genuine admiration to manufactured antagonism demonstrates how the industry can corrupt relationships and turn inspiration into desperation. Choppa went from creating tribute songs to making desperate attempts to start a beef. And the culture sees right through it. This entire timeline proves that sometimes the biggest adversary to an artist's career is their own desperation. Instead of concentrating on producing better music or establishing his unique lane, Choppa chose to pursue controversy, and it's making him appear weak rather than formidable. The psychological aspect is also captivating. Imagine idolizing someone, then having them threaten your life on a song, then remaining silent for years, only to return when your career requires a boost. That is a complex emotional journey that likely affects how Choppa perceives himself as an artist. The real question is, how long can you continue to diss someone who refuses to acknowledge your existence? Choppa's strategy might gain him temporary attention, but it is not building him a sustainable career. Eventually, people grow weary of manufactured drama, and then what remains? YoungBoy's silence is actually the most impactful response he could provide. By not engaging, he is conveying that Choppa is not worth his time or energy, which is probably more damaging than any diss track could be. This situation also underscores the distinction between authentic street conflicts and industry-fabricated controversy. Real beef has real consequences, real emotions, and real stakes. Eventually, people grow weary of manufactured drama. And then what remains? YoungBoy's silence is actually the most impactful response he could provide. By not engaging, he is conveying that Choppa is not worth his time or energy, which is probably more damaging than any diss track could be. This situation also underscores the distinction between authentic street conflicts and industry-fabricated controversy. Real beef has real consequences, real emotions, and real stakes.